Hello everyone and welcome to this 10th episode of our DualShockers WeebCast. I'm Giuseppe Nelva and I will be your host today. Last week we took a break because E3 was in full swing, and when you already sleep 2 hours a night, squeezing in the podcast is a little bit difficult. If you're not familiar with our WeebCast, it's our weekly podcast in which we discuss Japanese games, anime, manga, local geek culture, and more. This episode will be fully dedicated to E3, with all the news we learned and the things our team saw. As you probably know, I was not there myself as I was working hard from home to get the news on the site. That being said, I got a lot of information, actually an information overload, from our team, and I gathered all the reports and stuff we saw and everything that was there. One thing is for sure, while the show is in Los Angeles, so it's in the US, this year Japan came in swinging. There was a ton of reveals of Japanese games, showing once more that Japanese gaming industry is as relevant as ever. Actually, it may be more than ever, since the localization efforts are becoming stronger and stronger every year. So, let's get started. Actually, today I'm not going to talk about what games I played or what anime I watched, because I haven't played anything and I haven't watched anything. I was writing basically all day for the past few days since E3 started. I literally was writing on the site and going to bed and then sleeping a couple of hours and then writing on the site again and again and again and again, over and over. So yeah, no playing games, no watching anime, no relaxing at all. Actually, finally, things are starting to slow down a bit with just reading listening to all our interviews and writing news from them and then transcribing them while our team works on previews. We have a lot of previews and interviews on Japanese games coming in. So be ready. For instance, tomorrow, by when this podcast comes out, you should already read more news about Warriors Orochi 4, which, we got an interview we also saw in action. And, so let's get started because boy, we saw a ton of things. Things got pretty much started a little bit before E3, the day before, by Kingdom Hearts 3, that, we had Lou and Logan, I believe, were at the orchestra concert in Los Angeles, and they saw, the announcement of the release date, which is on January 29th. The release date is actually a little bit later than what they promised. They promised 2018, but unfortunately it's going to be 19. So it's 1 month. Personally, I expected the game to come in December because, more time is better. And also kind of the perfect, I think, Kingdom Hearts can be the perfect, holiday game. But it's going to come in January, it's still fine. I'm actually looking forward to it, and, we actually saw 3 different trailers. The first of which was shown during the orchestra concert, but that was behind closed doors, and they shown that one during their showcase on the second day, of the conferences. The first one was shown at Microsoft press conference, and then there was another one at Sony's press conference. Some of the content between them were the same, especially between the one at Microsoft press conference and during the Square Enix showcase, which is funny because some people were like, why are you pausing the same trailer twice? I was like, look at 1 minute 29, that there is different content here. So, and we got to see Frozen, Tangled, Pirates of the Caribbean. Personally, I'm not a big Disney lover, and I will admit it, but I have a big, personal bond with Frozen, which is one of my favorite Disney movies. And when I saw those sequences with Anna and stuff, I was like, oh, I love this. Pirates of the Caribbean is what kind of surprised me the most, because for a moment I thought it was live action. It was really, really, really well rendered, and then after a little bit, I noticed that it was actually gameplay, and the anime card, the CG characters, in the usual Kingdom Hearts style, they fit perfectly with the realistic artists of Pirates of the Caribbean. I was like surprised how well they fit. Thank you to the shaders they used. It looks fantastic. And then Tangled. I actually Tangled, it's another of the movies I love. So that was very nicely done. It was also Ratatouille. I don't think it's gonna have its own word. It's just gonna be some appearances, but I don't know. I'm not sure. We also got a lot of gameplay. We saw like almost an hour of gameplay from E3. That was the old demo that they shown at the showcase a little while ago, and it was the Hercules word, and I believe it was the Toy Story word. So we actually saw a lot of those, and they're very nice. The game looks fantastic. We'll see if there will be it won't be another delay, but at this point, I don't think there will be. Speaking of Square Enix, there was a big like gap in their lineup because we didn't see Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was expecting it, to be honest. We learned that it was, Nomura confirmed that it is in full production, but we pretty much knew that. It was mentioned in a few interviews. I don't know when they're gonna show it. I hope, actually, there is going to be Tokyo Game Show soon, so I hope they're gonna finally come out with that Tokyo Game Show. I don't think it's a Gamescom-like announcement, so I think we may see more in September. But anyway, yeah, I know a lot of people were disappointed about that, but the sooner or later it will come, I'm sure. Then still Square Enix, that was the first news, actually was leaked by Square Enix itself. They put the news post on their site too early, and that was Nier Automata. It's going to Xbox One, and it's very soon on June 26th. If you have only an Xbox One, you don't have a PC and a PS4, you probably are not listening to this podcast. But if you are and you want to try a really, really, really great game, Nier Automata is fantastic. You should really try it. But even if you like have only a PS4 and you have an Xbox One X, for instance, it may be worth giving it a try on Xbox One X to solve some of like the frame rate issues the game had. I'm actually going to double dip. But wait, triple dip. Because I have it on PS4. Oh no, it's actually double because I didn't pay for the PS4 version. Because it was like a review copy. But still, we're gonna see. I'm going definitely double dip then because I got I bought the PC version and I'm gonna buy the Xbox One version. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. If you haven't tried it yet, it is the perfect time, and it's a good price. Also, it includes all the DLCs and stuff. So why not? Really, it's a great and you can enjoy 2B, which is fantastic on its own. Then another pretty big surprise at the Xbox press conference was Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is the new game by From Software, directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki. You probably know him. It's the director of the Soul series, the Bloodborne. But this is definitely not a Souls game, and it's definitely not Bloodborne. It is the game they teased last year at the Game Awards, and it is also published by Activision. It is a game that I thought it was a new Tenchu, and definitely has some of Tenchu. It's not a new Tenchu in its own, but it's definitely a spiritual successor. My God, I'm sorry, guys. I'm still exhausted from a tree. So if I like eat my words, I say stupid things, please forgive me. So it's a spiritual successor to Tenchu, most definitely. It has some Souls elements as well, so it's a kind of a mix between Tenchu and Souls. It has a mechanic in which you can resurrect on the spot. They say it's limited, but it can help you to kinda like feign death and kill people when they turn around, pretty much. It's very interesting. There is also a lot of traversal that's very different from The Soul series is very vertical, so it's definitely a very interesting game. We got a roundtable interview and a preview. The preview, I think, has been published on Sunday, so you can go read that by Logan. And we actually reconnected with Yasuhiro Kitao, which used to be on Sony's side, the promoter of Bloodborne, and now he works on Shadows Die Twice for From Software. So basically moved from after working on Bloodborne with From Software on the Sony side, he moved to work From Software. So if you have seen a lot of like coverage of Bloodborne, you're probably gonna be familiar with him. Then there was another not surprise because it was leaked in pretty much every possible way. It was teased a million of times. People already expected it at Game Awards. Devil May Cry 5 is coming. And it looks different but familiar in some ways. I actually like the character designs a lot. Some people got scared because they thought it was Dante from DMC, but no, it's not. It's definitely not DMC. It's Devil May Cry, and it looks great. I'm actually very, very excited for this one. It's coming in spring 2019. Capcom is continuing its tradition now to actually just announce a game only when it's very close to release. This is pretty much what happened with Monster Hunter World, with Resident Evil 7. So it's something of a tradition for them now. So it's been announced in June, and 6, 7, 8 now, 8 months it's already out. So that's fantastic. That's actually a tradition, the new policy that I really enjoy. I don't mind waiting, to be honest, but I do enjoy when a game it's announced and then it's out really quickly, if the game is good, of course. And so far, it paid because Capcom pulled out Resident Evil 7. That was great for people that like Resident Evil. I personally, it's not my thing. Well, I like the older Resident Evil style. I didn't like Resident Evil 7 was not my style, so I didn't even play it. It's not that I did dislike. I played it. I disliked it. I did not like the style of the game, so I did not play it. But it's not that I think it's a bad game. It's just that it's not my cup of tea. But people that played it enjoyed it. People that enjoy the kind of game definitely enjoyed it. And the same goes for Monster Hunter World, which I played the heck off. So yeah, definitely. It's paying really dividends for them to do this kind of policy. So let's hope it works for Devil May Cry 5 as well. Then we got another Japanese thing, and at the Microsoft conference, gotta say, Phil Spencer promised Japanese stuff and JRPGs at his conference, and he kept his promise, and we got Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, which is Tales of Vesperia is one of the best Tales games, and it's coming back finally to the West with the content that was in the PS3 version that we never got when it got released on re-released in Japan on PS3. So a new character, new stuff, and it's coming in the winter. So even this one doesn't have too much to wait. It's a remake, of course. It's for PS4, Xbox One, I believe PC as well, and Switch. So whatever platform you're on, you'll be able to enjoy it, and I'll enjoy the heck out of it because I absolutely love Tales of Vesperia. I don't think there has ever been a Tales game after Vesperia was as good. Not even nearly, actually. I liked the Berseria, but honestly, it wasn't even close. So I'm really gonna enjoy this one. My God, the list is long. This is gonna be a long podcast, guys. I'm sorry. This is why we skip pretty much the anime and game stuff, besides the fact that I didn't play anything, watch anything. Then there was another Japanese games at the Microsoft press conference, and was Jump Force, which is basically a mashup fighting game with Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Naruto. It's gonna come out in 2019, and other Jump franchises. We saw pretty much all the major characters of those three franchises. We also saw a teaser of Death Note. but it definitely looked like the engine is different from what at least the shaders are different from what Bandai Namco normally uses for its anime games. It's interesting because it seems to be set in the real world. And the developer is actually Spike Chunsoft, which, if you don't know, is, for instance, the developer of the Danganronpa series. And this is a fighting game. And Bandai Namco is pretty much putting his tendrils everywhere, with like working with Arc System Works, with Spike Chunsoft, with a ton of people. So it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of job they do. I heard mixed reception for this game. Something is great, something it's kinda weak. Our guy that tried it, I think it was Michael, I'm not sure, but he was not 100% convinced yet. We'll see how it is. Then we got this was not really an announcement, but it was part of the Microsoft press was it the press conference? I don't remember. I'm going to go crazy. Maybe not. Actually it wasn't. It was just we actually got some new assets afterwards, but the announcement was actually earlier than all the press conference. That was Dead or Alive 6. Announced for 2019. We actually got an interview. You probably already saw a couple of news pieces from it. And Lou played it, and actually it felt great as a fighting game. They say they're going to deal back on the fan service a bit. But it does not seem like they are, like the initial articles and a lot of outlets say that they are going to remove the boob giggle and stuff like that. Actually at the end of towards the end of E3, Shimbori-san, the producer and director, actually had to step in. It was on an interview on Twitch, and the host got in a little bit aggressive about it, like in a way, oh, you guys are doing the right thing, you're removing all the fan service and stuff. And I was like, why the hell don't you shut up? In any case, Shimbori-san actually didn't tell him that, but kinda. It was like, wait a second. And he had to actually clarify that, for instance, the breast physics are not going away completely. They're just going to be realistic, and they're going to depend on the clothes the character wears, which actually makes sense. Because, of course, if you're wearing a super skin-tight, semi-rigid suit like the new suit that we saw with Kazumi, it does not make sense that her boobs are like flapping around in a super physical way. In the demo that was presented at E3, it appears that was not there, but we have to remember that it's going to be, it's just a work in progress demo. The game is quite a bit far. It's early 2019, so it's not nearly close. It won't use the soft engine, but this does not mean much because they have a new engine. So we'll see what it's capable of in time. They actually have super nice lightning effects on this. Like the skin looks great, the sweat looks great. I actually love the fact that they removed the taboo. There is a taboo for the series and also for many games in Japan that you can't actually wound a lady's face. Like, you can't hurt her. But when you fight, you get hurt. So in this game, everyone will get hurt. Male, female, doesn't matter. You get bloody. You get face deformation when you get hit. That's absolutely fantastic. I actually really liked what I saw. And we learned that Kazumi is going to still have her traditional kunoichi outfit. So that's not going away. And I think Koei Tecmo Team Ninja are actually going for a variety of outfits. So I think they're going to go for the actually right way they should do this, making a large variety of outfits so that if you want sexy, you can wear sexy. If you want like more fighter-like, more cool, you can do that. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna do that even because, they make a lot of money out of outfit DLC. So if you like that, I'm pretty sure that's not going to go away. We'll see about that. Anyway, Lou is very enthusiastic about what he saw of the game, what he played. So I'm interested actually to get to play it myself soon, possibly at Gamescom or maybe a Tokyo Game Show. Anyway, let's move on. One of the best news, as if you were following me on Twitter, you probably saw an explosion. I was kind of silent on Twitter because I was like working so hard. But when this news came out, it was like an explosion on my Twitter. I was like, what the? And then with like gifs and stuff, I was so happy. So Otaku, which is the Yakuza meets Fist of the North Star game by Sega, is coming to the West, and it's coming in October 2nd. And we actually saw a lot of gameplay, and it looks fantastic. Seems like the localization is already quite advanced. And I already played almost all the game in Japanese, and I can tell you it's one of the best Yakuza games out there. Well, it's not a Yakuza game, but it's one of the best Yakuza style spin-offs out there. It's definitely fantastic. I love it. And I loved Fist of the North Star when I was a kid, and I'm absolutely I'm not enjoying the latest anime, I have to say, the one that's actually airing now, because it's completely different. But the original anime, the original manga, I grew up with those, and I know it's not as popular in North America as it is in Europe, but it's fantastic. The story is great. The characters are great. And the gameplay is Yakuza, but with more flesh, basically, pretty much. And with making people's heads explode. Oh my, mo Shinderu. Anyway, so, yeah, that Kenshiro impression was terrible. I'm sorry, I'm tired. Anyway, it's coming on October 2nd, only for PS4 as usual. But it's really good news. I was happy. I was actually a little worried about that because we hadn't heard anything about it. I was like worried the usual anime licensing problems got in the way of publishing in the West, but I'm happy that we actually got it. So after that, we got Square Enix Showcase. And that was a little weak. It was definitely a little weak. Probably the weakest of the conference. I'm sorry, Square Enix. You guys know I love Square Enix, but the absence of Final Fantasy VII Remake and all, it was a little weak. But we did get some little surprises that I enjoyed. So we did get the Dragon Quest XI Special Editions. They got a pretty decent collector's edition there. That was pretty small. We also got that I love Final Fantasy XIV, and I love Monster Hunter World, and there is going to be a crossover between Final Fantasy XIV and Monster Hunter World. So it's going to be hunting time in pretty much both of the games, and I'm looking forward to that. But the big one, of which we actually saw nothing, is Babylon's Fall, a new game by Platinum Games. And we really do not know anything about that because they didn't say anything. It's just said it's by Platinum Game. They show a little bit of a teaser. But we do know there is going to be another collaboration between Square Enix and Platinum Games, and that's happy news. I really hope that they get Taura-san again on it, and it's as good as it's as good as Nier Automata, but they didn't say anything about Yoko Taro, so I don't think Yoko Taro is taking part on this one, unfortunately. We'll see. Then we moved into the PC show. Sorry, I actually hit my microphone, so there's probably going to be some bad noises here. I'm sorry, guys. We got to the PC showcase, and there we got the pretty big news for PC gamers that love Japanese games. Valkyria Chronicles 4, Yakuza 0, and Yakuza Kiwami are coming for PC. Starting with Yakuza 0. Which is coming in August. I think pre-orders are already up with 4K support if you want it. Also, uncapped frame rate. And I'm definitely double dipping here as well. I actually got the Western version of Yakuza 0 for PS4 as a review copy, but I actually bought the original in Japanese. So it still counts as double dipping, when I will buy the PC version. So I'm definitely getting it. And I'm also getting Yakuza Kiwami when it comes out. Valkyria Chronicles 4, I don't know yet which, platform I'm gonna get it. I'm a little bit like, conflicted here. I already have it in Japanese for PS4, but I want it in English, of course, but I will decide. Most definitely not Switch because, you guys know that I don't play much portable and, I want the game to look their best. I don't think there is going to be much of an improvement, passing from PS4 to Xbox One X, but there may be an improvement on PC, so I may just get it on PC. We'll see. Then, after this, we got, by the way, I actually pretty believe that, Sega is going to move forward with the whole series on PC after Kiwami. We're probably gonna get Kiwami 2, and then the remasters of 3, 4, and 5, and Yakuza 6. And I'm probably gonna buy them all. But yeah, this is not confirmed, it's just my speculation. So keep it at that, but I think that's the case. Then we moved into Sony's press conference. And that was a little weird. Started weird. With very few things really revealed, but we still got some Japanese games. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Ghost of Tsushima, which was, I know it's not technically Japanese games. It's set in Japan, and it's very, very rooted in Japanese culture. But it's made by Sucker Punch, which is a Seattle-based studio. But they're getting help from Japan studio, at least as consulting on the setting and whatnot. So it kind of a little bit counts as a bit Japanese games. And Sony is Japanese anyway. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It was probably the most impressive thing I saw at E3. And in the following days, they actually show just some environments. And, like animated with the leaves and stuff, besides the gameplay they shown at the thing. And you can see the video on the side, just if you search Ghost of Tsushima. And, I was enchanted. You guys know how much I love Japan. And I've never been to Tsushima because getting to Tsushima is actually pretty messy and costly because it's off the coast. There is only a ferry to go there. I don't think there is an airport. I actually researched because I'm researching for an article on Tsushima itself. And it's pretty costly, and there are many hotels in it, even if there are a lot of tourists from Korea mostly. Probably that it's easier to get there from Korea than from Japan. But in any case, like, the visuals were so good, and the color palette and everything, it didn't look like the Japan I know, but it felt like it. And I was like so enchanted by it. I swear, when they showed us, I cried. I know. I'm a sentimental guy. But yeah, I really, really love it. I'm enchanted by it. Speaking of Ghost of Tsushima, and since we haven't talked about anime much, there is an interesting thing, because on July 11th, there is going to be a new anime series that begins. Its name is Angle Moi Genku Kasenki, and it's from a manga by Nanahiko Takagi. And it's about the Mongol invasion of Tsushima. It's exactly about the same thing as Ghost of Tsushima. So if you want to research on the story behind Ghost of Tsushima, besides reading my article on the story behind Ghost of Tsushima that I already wrote and it's already on the site, you should definitely watch this anime, which I've been told the manga is fantastic. I haven't read it as well. It's a historical manga, but it has a little bit of, like, of course, fictional elements in it. It kind of takes the same approach as Ghost of Tsushima. But think about this. There has never been a game based on like fully based on Tsushima. There have been some strategy games that have included the Mongol invasion of Japan, but the invasion of Tsushima, which was actually pretty small in terms of strategy and the tactical thing, is not like featured in a big way. But to my knowledge, there's never been a video game set completely on the Mongol invasion of Tsushima Island. And going to my knowledge, there's never been an anime set based on the Mongol invasion of Tsushima Island. And they're coming pretty much at the same time. What are the odds? And I don't think there's been any behind the scene coordination there, but what are the odds that an anime and the game from completely different team, from a Western team making the game and from a Japanese team making the anime, the reveal of the game comes pretty much at the same time as the beginning of the anime? What are the odds? There is no odds. It's almost impossible. Like if you consider the whole history of gaming and the history of anime, now someone is probably going tomorrow in the comments saying, "Oh, there was this game about Tsushima and you didn't notice," probably, maybe. But I'm talking about major stuff here. And what are the odds? So yeah, definitely I'm going on July 11th. I'm definitely gonna watch Angle Moi Genko Kasenki. Angle Moi, for those who don't know, it's a word that comes from the prophecy of Nostradamus. And it actually, it's an anagram of Mongolians, which is the name of the Mongols, basically. So yeah, it's something I'm looking forward to watch. I'm definitely excited to watch it and to get more into the Ghost of Tsushima mood. If I wasn't already, because I already am super excited for that game. Yeah, I spent 5 minutes talking about the non-Japanese game. Sorry about that, guys. So next. After Ghost of Tsushima, we saw Death Stranding, and this is definitely Japanese, and it is definitely Kojima. And what the hell the game is about? Well, we learned that the game is about a guy that makes deliveries, it looks like, in a kind of, I guess, post-apocalyptic world when there is some spirits stuff that kill people, and this guy makes these deliveries. Is called the porter. Sam Bridges is his name, but people call him the porter, and he basically carries stuff around in the most impossible environments. We see him his feet are destroyed when he walks around, despite the fact that he has a super heavy equipment. He also carries what seemed to be a corpse. So at one point, it seems to be carrying a corpse on his back. Wrapped up, but I have no idea. I have no idea. The graphics look incredible. They look fantastic. But that's really all we know. The environments were spectacular. The visual, the characters were incredible. The acting was the least uncanny valley I've seen in a long time. But yeah, we really don't know what it is about, and we probably won't know until it's out, because it's Kojima. Okay. That was a very, very nice surprise. Was Nioh 2. You guys know that despite the fact that I'm not much of a fan of Masocore games, I really loved Nioh. Probably wrote my review of it, and you know that I absolutely adore it. Mostly because Nioh, it is a Masocore game, but unlike Soul games, has a very, very nice story that drives you forward. So you have a reward. If you finish a level that was really hard and you die a ton of times, you get your cookie. You get your more story to enjoy. You get the progressing adventures of William. And William looks like it's not going to come back, at least as a main protagonist, because the protagonist this time around is going to be created by us. Interesting, we also know that the protagonist is going to have yokai power this time around. So it's going to be yokai against person, yokai against yokai, and it's going to be interesting. Also, we also heard that it's gonna get a demo like the first, because Koei Tecmo Team Ninja wants to get feedback from the users, and that's a great approach. Actually, I really enjoyed this approach, and I wish more developers took it, because I think actually the game benefited a lot from the first. For the first being having actually 2 demos that people could enjoy and send feedback from. So I'm very excited for this one, honestly. I'm actually really want to see what kind of character designer we get. You guys know that I'm pretty much a fan of character designers, of character customization, and I spend like hours making my character, and definitely gonna spend hours making my samurai. So yeah, great that. I really want to see. We'll be able to choose gender, race, I heard, and looks as well. So it's gonna be interesting. Then we got another smaller reveal from Software, in collaboration with Japan Studio. I'm gonna butcher this. It's Déraciné, I believe, and it's a PlayStation VR title. It's actually really interesting. It's a PlayStation VR exclusive, and it's really interesting because you're a ghost or a spirit, and you're in a boarding school, and you need to prove your existence to the boys and girls in the boarding school, and then form a bond with them. It's interesting, and I'm really gonna look forward to it. Even if I don't have a PlayStation VR, but I'm looking forward to try it at some event, and then possibly it may convince me to get a PlayStation VR. I'm actually leaning into it for Zone of the Enders, so I may actually finally get one. We'll see. Then after that, we got Resident Evil 2 Remake, which Resident Evil 2 is actually the Resident Evil games that I still like. One of my favorites, actually. So, and in the Resident Evil 7, engine, it looks absolutely fantastic. I actually think it looks better artistically than Resident Evil 7. But I like this style more. So that's probably not surprising. So yeah, that was, I guess, not a surprise for many because it was teased, it was leaked, so yeah, but it looked great. And what I heard from our people that played it is also that it plays great. So it's a little bit more like streamlined, maybe not streamlined, but more like make it a little bit more fluid in gameplay. It's great. Then after the Sony's press conference, the day after, we got a new trailer for Catherine Full Body, which is the remake of Catherine. We still don't know the platforms for the West. I'm guessing it's gonna come from PS4 because the Japanese version is coming out for PS4 and PS Vita. They may want to do PS4 and Switch, or PS4 and PC, or PS4 and PC and Switch. In the West, I don't think it's gonna get a PS Vita release. But yeah, it's still pretty mysterious on the identity of the new Catherine, the new heroine, which is her name is Rin. Like, the scene we see definitely seems to indicate that there is a surprise. But Atlus may be playing with us. At the moment, we do not know. And it's gonna be interesting to actually see. I personally think that they're gonna keep it a secret until the game releases. I may be wrong, but I think that's gonna be the thing. I personally loved the original game, and sure, I loved this one as well, which whatever the outcome is. But unfortunately for the new Rin, my choice is going to always be on Catherine. And I mean the serious waifu with long hair and glasses. Like, can bait long hair and glasses for me. Sorry. So yeah, that's always been like that. She'll always be my favorite. Besides, I love serious girls, serious waifus. Anyway, moving on, we got a release window for My Hero Academia Wants Justice. I refuse to call it My Heroes Want Justice. We also saw more gameplay. It's like My Heroes Want Justice as a title is just awkward. Anyway, it's gonna come west in October. We still didn't get a full release date, but we have a window. So October is gonna come. October is already a massively heavy month, and I'm probably gonna, and if it's not at the beginning of October, I'll still be in Japan. But in any case, like, the game looks pretty good. Probably not what you'd like, the same level of quality, for instance, of a Dragon Ball Fighters, but still pretty good. Well, I will have to try it. I haven't tried it yet, but what I saw was promising for anime fans, let's say. Maybe if you want like a full-fledged, like, hardcore fighters, that's probably not what you want. Then, we got a release date for, Labyrinth of Refrain, Covenant Dusk, from NIS America. That's, going to come out on, the 18th of September in North America and the 21st in Europe. Like, we've been waiting for ages for that game since when it came out in Japan on PS Vita. And that's your, typical, dungeon crawling, Eye of the Beholder style, JRPG. So, or more wizardry style, because Eye of the Beholder is definitely not a JRPG. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm gonna be in Japan when it comes out. So I'm probably gonna play it when I come back, because I'm gonna be in Japan for Tokyo Game Show. And by NIS America, we also got another, release date with this Gaia 1 Complete. It's gonna come out on October 9th, in North America, on October 12th in Europe. But yeah, this is Gaia 1, basically. So, with new graphics. They actually reused a lot of the assets from the later Disgaea, but it looks good. So if you haven't played the first Disgaea and you want to get into the series, it's very challenging and very long. Well, more than challenging, it's very long. It will challenge your free time. But this guy is great. So if you want, it's a little silly, but it's great. So if you want to get into it, this is probably the good chance for it. Then we got into the Nintendo presentation, and the Nintendo presentation had a pretty interesting setup. It was Nintendo doing Nintendo. Basically, what we saw was a really, really strong start. They started with Demon X Machina, which is basically a spiritual successor of the Armored Core series on the Switch. I'm just gonna give you one name. The mecha design is by Shoji Kawamori. Shoji Kawamori is pretty much the god of Japanese mecha design. Is the one that designed Macross and created Macross. He also created the mecha design for the Armored Core series, but also created like a million of other important mecha franchise in Japan. And so, yeah, in fact, it looked fantastic. We also get Armored Core 2 and 3 producer Kenichiro Tsukuda, which we also saw later in the show when he presented gameplay. Then we got the character design of Yosuke Kozaki, which worked on the Fire Emblem series, but more importantly on the No More Heroes series as well. Then composers, we have Junichi Nakatsuru and Yorio Hamamoto, which are known respectively for the Soul Calibur series and for the Tekken series. So we have some really monster names. And then the direction was by Ken Awata and Ken Karube, which worked, I believe, on the Monster Hunter Stories series. But it is made by Marvelous, by the way, and it looks fantastic. I actually saw quite a lot of gameplay. It looks like Armored Core, more cartoonish, I guess, but I'm definitely gonna buy it. Like, there is no way I'm gonna miss this one. It's gonna come in, I believe, spring 2019. This was my highlight for Nintendo show. Like, 5 minutes in, I was satisfied. I was happy. I was like, okay, I'm done. I can go home now. If I didn't have to cover it, I could have gone home. Then they continued with strong stuff, and we got Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is finally a look at the new Fire Emblem, which I believe is gonna come next year, at the beginning of next year. And it looks like a big improvement, at least graphically, from the old series, but of course, when you go from 3DS to Switch, that's to be expected. I really love the character design, but unfortunately we did not see gameplay beyond the initial trailer. They did not show any during, I was actually really waiting. I actually watched the whole, the whole 3 hours thing because I was hoping to see gameplay of this. Unfortunately, we did not. So we'll have to wait to see actually full gameplay outside of the trailer. But they look really good. I'm excited for this one. Hopefully Nintendo won't censor it to death. If you don't want certain teams, don't put them from the start and we're done. Okay? But don't put certain teams only for Japan and then you move into the West and you have to censor it. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, moving on. We also got Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Tornado Golden Country, which is an expansion for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's a prequel. Jin features heavily, and it looks fantastic. We also saw a lot of gameplay for it, and I'm really excited to play it. But yeah, that was it for me, because then they went into Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I don't care about. I'm sorry. I never really cared about Smash Bros. Games. And that was 30 minutes of presentation and I was yawning like hell. I'm sure, like, if you love Smash Bros., you'd probably be super happy. And it was great. But personally, for me, it did nothing. But it's not that I'm not into Smash Bros. Specifically, I'm really not into crossover fighters that are self-celebration of a brand with characters that like have nothing to do with each other. It was the same for the PlayStation 1 a long while ago. So yeah, it really was a matter of it was just a matter of me not enjoying it. Like they were obviously filling time. Like, they were talking about, I don't know, the fact that Bayonetta's guns were different depending on which version of Bayonetta is, that they changed the face of the trainer of Wii Fit. Come on, who the hell cares about this? Well, probably the Smash Bros. Fanatics, but it's not me. I'm sorry, guys. If you love it, great for you. It just wasn't me. Ryan that was writing about it, it was like all, like, orgasming because he loves it. Personally, I was yawning. We have a lot of people on DualShockers that love Smash Bros. And those were happy. Emily was really excited as well. She loves it as well. Unfortunately, I miss it. Unfortunately, if she was here with me, she'd probably be singing the praises of Smash Bros. But I miss her, and I know you guys miss her as well. Hopefully, things for her will go better soon, so she's gonna be able to come back. Anyway, moving on from Nintendo, we got some more things afterwards. Actually, this was not announced during the the Nintendo's Direct, but the trailer came out right after. That crazy for me, because can't you take away 5 minutes, 2 minutes from Smash Bros. Things to show one of the best fighting games released in a while? Dragon Ball FighterZ got announced for the Switch, and it's gonna come this year. And they did not show it during their Direct. Actually, Emily was hoping that it would have been announced. And she actually started writing it before because she thought it would have been announced. And after the conference, she was like, "Oh, that's disappointing that it didn't come out." And I just refreshed my subscription on YouTube, my subscription channels on YouTube, and that was it. That was a trailer. I was like, Emily, there it is. You can write about it now. That was weird. Like, after 25 minutes of presentation of Smash Bros., they did not spare 2 minutes for literally one of the best fighting games released in a long while. I was baffled by that. But anyway, it's coming. So if you're on Switch and you want to, or if you want to play Dragon Ball FighterZ, portable, now you can soonish. It's gonna come this year. They didn't say when yet, but it's gonna come this year. Then day after, actually just during the presentation, I believe, Compile Heart announced Valnir of the Dragon Star, which is basically waifu meet dragons meet dark fantasy. Well, Compile Heart's version of dark fantasy, which is not very dark. At least the character designs are not. But it's like it's a compile heart game, so you know what to expect. But it is a game on which they're putting a lot of their resources. They have like 5 different character designers. They have like all their best staffers working on it. So I'm actually pretty curious to see how it goes. Like it's about a knight that his job is to hunt witches, because witches kind of are bound in the word of the game to the coming of dragons, and a dragon attacks him and he's almost dead, and a witch saves him. Then he gets involved in a lot of like political machinations and stuff between various factions and the witches themselves and his own knightly order. So it looks interesting. The card design is great as usual for compile heart, if you like waifus at least. But it's interesting. Well, we're gonna see what happens with it, and if compile heart brings it west. We're still waiting for an announcement of that hand request, so we'll see. Then we also got an announcement for a reveal of Nelke and the legend, Nelke probably. It's probably Nelke because it's probably a German pronunciation. And the legendary alchemist Atelier of the New Land, which is a new Atelier game. It's a new All-Star Atelier game. It's gonna come in Japan, for PS4, Switch, and Vita. By the way, I forgot to say that, Valnir Dragonstar is only for PS4. And Nelke and the Legendary Alchemist is a mashup Atelier game, which is actually a city builder. So basically SimCity in its own Atelier world. Looks like it is in its own world with like famous alchemists in past alchemy Atelier game that actually are not really traveling to that world, but simply are native of that world in the meta canon of this game. And basically they will populate your city and you will build a city. There is also still JRPG elements and alchemy and gathering and all that. So it's not just the city builder, but it looks interesting. And card design is mostly made by Noko, I believe. So I'm looking forward to hear more about it. Koei Tecmo brings almost everything west, so probably gonna hear about the Western release soon. Then I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy. We finally got to see, we got a meeting with Cygames. Unfortunately, we can't tell you most of what we saw, because NDAs. But we saw, Project Awakening. It's alive. Like they announced it with a trailer in 2016, and then they say nothing about it anymore. The game is still a long way off, or still seems to be still a long way off, at least from what we saw. But we can say much about what we saw. I haven't seen it myself. I'm just going from what Michael that actually saw it told me. It's going to be it looks like it seems to be like a kind of a Western niche RPG actually, in style, in visual style, like super realistic, beautiful, like the graphics were really cutting edge. And the person working on the graphics is the same person that was working, that created the Fox engine for Konami. There is like a bunch of really, really high level developers working on this, because you know, guys, that Cygames had a ton of money coming in from Grand Blue Fantasy, Shadowverse, and his mobile games. And now they're working on consoles at last. This seems to be for high-end consoles. That's what they say when they revealed it at the beginning. I can't really say anything else besides the fact that the trailer that we saw was super short. It was like 30 seconds or so. And was showing a hero in ruins and dragon. But it looks really, really, really good. But it seems to be a really, really, really long way off as well. Unfortunately, we did not have any confirmation of release date, platforms, anything to give. But it still was very interesting. And it also seems that, from what it seems, that basically this kind of stuff is going to come west. Don't know when, don't have an official confirmation or anything, but it seems that Cygames is actually looking at the west. You don't come to E3 to introduce your titles if you don't want to release them in the West. Also, they are working on, we know that they're working on, Grand Blue Fantasy Project Relink, but yeah, there was nothing new about that. We'll have to see. But I'm really excited to see Cygames actually, come to the West in a big way, because I really love Grand Blue Fantasy. You guys know that. And that's a great IP. We'll see what comes out of this Project Awakening. What we see was small but promising. At least we know that it's still coming. After 2 years of silence, that's a relief, right? After that, we saw some new gameplay of Code Vein. And that was very extensive. We saw that the character creation is absolutely bonkers. Like, it's probably one of the most extensive character creation I've seen in the Japanese games ever. And it's fantastic. If you want to make your character sexy, you can do that. If you want to make your character serious, you can do that. Whatever you want to do, you can. The only limitation is that I don't think it's possible to make a character that looks old. But they're vampires, so that kind of makes sense. So, as long as you want to make it like an anime-like young character, there is a ton of freedom to go with. Even just the eyes have like 5 or 6 different options. Not the colors. I'm talking about the shape of the eyes and the different reflections and stuff. It was really bonkers. So I'm really excited to see to see it when it comes out, and to play it. And then there was like my big thing. You know how much I love Ace Combat, and we saw a new trailer of Ace Combat 7. We didn't learn the release date, but we did learn during we actually saw the trailer 2 days before that it was showcased publicly during a behind closed door. And actually the version we saw behind closed door said that the game is going to be a game at Gamescom. But there was no release date. And the producer of the game, Kazutaki Kono, said that the release date is going to be announced soon. So I'm personally expecting that the release date is going to come at Gamescom. I don't know if it's going to be a 2018 game as promised. Maybe it's going to be a beginning of 2019. I don't know. I hope it's going to be a 2018, maybe end of 2018, but if it isn't, I'm gonna wait, because I love Ace Combat. We actually heard more of the story in the new trailer that they released. We heard basically the protagonist, Trigger, is a convict. He has done a very heinous crime, and is being convicted in this penal unit, like a penal squadron. And the fighters on the squadron have some scratches on their tail, on the unit markings, like some paint, and each of them has many, depending on how many you have, it shows how serious is your crime. And Trigger has 3, which means that that's a lot. We don't know what it did or what happened, but, Kono-san says that players are going to enjoy, like, going pretty much from the stables to the stars, like becoming a hero, because of course he's not treated as a hero, he's treated as a criminal, and he becomes a hero during a story. He has the chance to become a hero during a story, but it's a story in which the border between like good and evil are really blurred. So it's going to be, it really like promises to be a story worthy of Ace Combat 4, Ace Combat 5, it has me incredibly excited. So we'll see how it is, but I definitely cannot wait to see more and to just get my hands on it, because it's Ace Combat. Come on. Then just after E3, so this is not specifically part of E3, but I'm still gonna put it in. We got an announcement from Arc System Works of a Kill la Kill game. It's gonna call Kill la Kill Day game in the West. It's probably gonna come West because it has an English site, and we don't know anything besides the fact that it's probably a brawler. We saw some screenshots, nothing much, and it's actually made by the same team, I believe, that actually made the other game by the same studio, which is the Little Witch Academia game. So we'll see how it is exactly. We know really little about it, but we're gonna know more at Anime Expo, which is just beyond the corner at the beginning of July. So I'm curious about that. I like the anime, so I'm not crazy for it like many, but I like it. So I'm actually pretty interested in seeing what's up with that. And that's pretty much it for E3. That was a long one. So I'm not going to go through the news because I pretty much covered them all. But yeah, that's what happened at E3. It was a really exciting E3 for people that love Japanese games. It was a really exciting E3 for me. Also really exhausting. Even if I wasn't there. On the other hand, I'm going to be at Gamescom, in August. And I'm going to be at Tokyo Game Show, of course, in September, and I'm gonna be in September until like half of October in Tokyo. So I'm gonna, as usual, bring you guys massive coverage from Japan when that happens. And we are probably going to see a lot more of these games at Gamescom, at the Tokyo Game Show. I expect to see a lot more, for instance, of Dead or Alive at Gamescom, at Tokyo Game Show as well. I expect to actually hear more about Left Alive, for instance, that was completely missing from the Square Enix presentation at E3. I expect to hear more either at Gamescore or at TGS. There are a lot of games that I hope to see more. And I will, of course, bring you a lot of coverage about those when I go to both Gamescom in August. It's, Gamescom is going to be, the 21st, starting on the 21st of August. And I believe also Tokyo Game Show is starting around the 21st or 20th of September. So we have lots to look forward to. There is also gonna be more coverage, more game stuff at Anime Expo for sure. We do know that Cygames is present at Anime Expo. I don't know what they're gonna show, but we know they're gonna be there. But I'm definitely gonna hustle a lot to get as much coverage as possible when I get to Gamescom in Cologne and to Tokyo Game Show for you guys. So you know, guys, that when I go to Tokyo, I'm the happiest person in the world. So my stress levels go down and my coverage goes up. So expect a lot when that happens. I'm probably gonna be there starting on September 10th or 15th. I haven't booked my flight yet. I will really soon, but I can't wait to be there. I don't do a WeebCast for nothing. So yeah, expect a lot of coverage when I get there. In the meanwhile, I was Giuseppe Nelva from DualShockers.com, and this was our WeebCast. Episode 10 is finished. E3 is finished. And if you enjoyed this episode, as usual, please put a thumb up on YouTube and subscribe, because it helps us. If you didn't like it, thumb down. It's fine. Or if you can, please tell us in the comment what you like, what you don't like. You're probably going to comment that this was much better when Emily was here, and I would probably just say yes, you're right. But because it was, and I really look forward to her to come back. In the meanwhile, I'm done. So enjoy your week and bye.